Buyouts are often called the fastest way to grow a business. But are they really? The truth isn't as simple as it seems, and rushing into one of these deals can be one of the biggest mistakes business owners make. In this video, I'm going to break down what separates a good deal from a bad deal and why that could make or break your business. I'm Grady Cool, CEO of Cool Wealth Management. I help people make better investment decisions. To start off, let's talk about why acquisitions can be an effective way to grow. When you first start a business, usually your only way to grow is word of mouth or any of numerous options of advertising. Eventually, assuming you don't go out of business, you'll find a way to grow the business. Slowly but surely, you will get bigger and bigger. If you're not buying customers, that would be called organically growing the business. Once you get to a certain point, it can be a lot harder to grow in terms of percentage growth. Take, for example, it's a lot easier to go from 10,000 to 100,000 than it is to go from 100,000 to 1,000,000. You would have to do over the work of year one 10 times, and that can be difficult in terms of the number of hours, hiring people, paperwork, etc. It takes a business time to adjust. As well, the organic method for getting customers that you've been relying on may start to hit diminishing returns eventually. Just because you go from spending $20,000 on newspaper ads to $40,000 doesn't mean that the number of leads or customers you're going to get from it is going to double. That's why once your business has its feet under it and you've started to see a little bit of slowing in growth, a lot of business owners will consider buying out another business. That would be an inorganic way of growing the business. It requires cash. An average business that's growing 10 to 20% per year could double the size of their business. That's pretty nice. While that sounds nice, it doesn't always work out that way in reality. Acquisitions can go terribly wrong for a few reasons. The most common is overpaying. It can be exciting and glamorous, feeling like you're making some big money moves. That excitement is dangerous. This is an extreme example, but it should help make my point. William is a donut shop owner. He makes about $200,000 per year. He's sitting on some cash and wants to grow the business. Down the street is Gerald. He only makes about $10,000 a year from his donut shop. If William pays Gerald $100,000 for that donut shop, it will take him 10 years to see any return on investment from that. That's a long time for a small business owner to go without making any money back. Large corporations can put up with returns like that in order to grow. It's a lot more competitive up there. But as a small business owner, you need to see some good returns for an acquisition to actually make sense for you. What exactly that return is depends on the industry, but I think on average for most business owners, keeping your return on investment each year to at least 20% is a good benchmark. Another big thing that keeps a lot of acquisitions from working out is a lack of documentation and homework done before the buy. You need to know everything about the company that you are purchasing. You don't want to get into the deal and then realize that there's some big piece of equipment that's about to fail, you have some key employee who's about to walk off in a couple weeks, and that the customers hated the service. The last big reason that acquisitions fail is a lack of synergy. You don't want to do business a certain way and then buy from somebody that does business a different way, because then it can just be a massive shock to both the customers and employees. For example, I provide advice on investments, insurance, estates, and I don't believe in selling people annuities. If I buy the firm of some other financial advisor and he was only giving advice on some investments and he sold a lot of annuities, then it's going to be a big shock to all of his employees and customers when I go through and go, no, we're not doing this way. We gotta go this way. And that can be an issue even if it's a positive change. You don't want to make people feel like they made a stupid decision by being involved with this business for so long, because then they're going to take their money and go elsewhere, destroying your return on investment. That's all a little dark. Let's talk about how you can get prepared for an acquisition and when is the right time to pull the trigger. First, we need cash. You can use some debt for the acquisition, and most of the time you will. However, you need to put some cash into the deal and you need to make sure your interest rate is under control. As for some general guidelines, I would try to have at least 20 to 30% of the deal be cash. That means that if you want to do a $100,000 deal, you should have at least 20 to 30 grand in cash equivalents sitting around ready to go. For the interest rate, assuming you have decent credit, 8 to 10% is a reasonable rate in today's environment for growing your business. This is why having a good deal is so important, so that you actually get some return on investment from the deal. Another aspect of preparation you need to think about is your own business. If you know there is some big piece of equipment that's gonna start failing soon, or some key employee is about to quit in a couple weeks, you might want to take care of that before you start trying to make some massive purchase. The last big thing I'll note on is knowing what you're looking for. If you have some estimates around the size of the deal you want, the type of returns you need to see, the timeline involved, and how many hours it's going to take you to get this thing running, you'll probably have a much better deal go through. Acquisitions are a great way to grow your business once you're established. Be patient, find what you're looking for, and this could be a fantastic opportunity, in fact, life-changing. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. If you would like to work with me, feel free to schedule a call with the link in description as a 15-minute quick call, free customized investment proposal. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.